What is going on, everybody? So this was a request video, but I'm sure more than just one person wanted to see this. This is going to be a comparison between the Tekno MT410, my favorite RC ever, versus the Proline Pro Mt410. This is 1/10 scale. This is 1/8 scale. You know, this does look relatively huge compared to this truck sitting here like this. But if you put a normal basically a normal set of tires on this, this does look a little bit smaller, but it is very, very wide. And it is pretty much a true 1/8 scale four-wheel drive monster truck. So I'm going to go over the differences between the two. I definitely like the MT410 more, but this is my favorite RC ever, hands down, no questions asked. Just ridiculously awesomeness. Okay. But one thing I'm going to explain is like why I love this truck, like why this truck works and everything the way it does, and just kind of go over that. And I'm going to talk about this guy, all the good and the bad, and just kind of go over both of these trucks. So right out of the gate, you know, the MT410 cost quite a bit more. Even though this thing is pretty expensive as a rolling kit coming in at $400, this thing is just a kit that you have to build from scratch. That comes in at about $450 or $460, and then you got to put electronics in it, tires, buy a body and everything. This thing comes with tires and a body, but you do have to put your own electronics in it. You can choose either between 10 scale electronics or A scale. It does say you can run A scale in the manual, so that's what I'm running. And the truck definitely can handle it. This thing did have a few flaws, definitely. It does have a few flaws. This thing, I can't find a flaw on it. Like literally, this truck just works. Sorry, they're both dirty. I just had this out the other day. This one, I did replace the spur gear that I messed up when I was out bashing with Rich Duperbash. What's up, buddy? If you're watching this. But it's got a steel spur gear in here now. I went through the truck. Everything's awesome, as always. And I'm going to kind of get into why I do believe this truck works so well. Alrighty, so we're going to start with the MT410. So as I just explained, it is a kit that you get from Tekno, and you can buy it almost anywhere nowadays. You do have to put your own electronics in it. You do have to put it together from basically scratch. But this is the most solid basher I have ever come across. This truck is ridiculously tough. And I think the reason for that is that it is so basic. I mean, it just runs standard H-arms with camber links in the front and rear. It does have turnbuckles. The turnbuckles aren't huge. They're probably 2 or 2.5 mil. As you can tell, I run huge tires on this. I've never had a problem with the diffs at all. I've almost not had a problem with this truck at all, period. I broke one of the hubs, one of the steering blocks, off an insanely huge, really, really nasty landing. I actually took out half the plastic spur gear. On my first or second run with this thing, my pinion came loose, it slid forward and took the front half of the teeth off of the spur gear. I ran it like that until this last bash out with Rich Duperbash when I put 6S in here, and it finally took out that spur gear. So I replaced it with the steel spur gear. Now some people might ask why I wait. Well, I'm one of those people, you know, I don't fix it till it breaks. Like, I don't just fix things that don't need to be fixed. Like, I ran that plastic spur gear because it worked for about a year, maybe even longer than a year. I'm not exactly sure how long I've had this truck. But the spur gear, even though the front half of the teeth were missing, it was still working perfectly. So that's why I didn't replace it until it literally stripped out. And I did buy a spare spur gear for my ET 48.3. That way I have that covered now. So I ordered that as the same time I ordered this. But that's just how I kind of do it. I just, if it ain't broke, I don't fix it. Once it breaks, I fix it like right away. I get online, I order the parts I need. When they get here, I fix it. But if it's not broken, I don't tend to like just replace it just because there might be something better out there. So another thing about this truck, besides the simplicity, is like, look at the chassis. I mean, the chassis is very, very narrow. This truck does have some weight to it because of the tires and the system in here. But the funny thing is the chassis on this Proline 110 scale is actually wider and almost as long. You know, the chassis on this thing, it does extend out, you know, where underneath the diffs and everything, but the main part of the chassis is about the same size as the main part of this chassis, but it's narrower. So there's, I mean, this thing's just, they really, really, really thought this over when they were designing it. And another thing is the quality of materials that you get with this thing. It might be basic, but the quality that you get with this thing, the quality of the plastic of the A-arms, the quality of the aluminum that the shock towers are made out of, the shocks, everything on this is held to a very, very, very high standard. And the testament to that is that I have beat and beat and beat and beat on this truck, and I've literally only broken 2 parts to date, not counting the body. The body has definitely seen better days. But this is the original body too. This is the body I bought when I bought this kit. And as you can see, I just keep basically gooping and drywall taping it as it breaks. The whole top of the cab's cracked open, the back is cracked open, the whole back is smashed, and it still works and it still looks okay to my eyes. So in this thing, I didn't go all out either. I didn't buy super, super, super high quality electronics or anything like that. I just went basic. I got a basically discontinued, like ancient Hobbywing X-Run 2000 kV brushless motor that is a 4074 can, and I've got the Hobbywing big Hobbywing fan on it. I'll give you guys a look right there. It's getting my mat all dirty. And then I'm just running a standard Hobbywing Quick Run ESC, waterproof ESC, 150 amps. It's about 75 bucks. So this whole system right here, you can't get this motor anymore. They don't make this motor anymore. But this whole system's easily less than $200. And then I'm running the XJ 20 kg steering servo. Those servos that I get from Banggood. You get 4 of them for 30 bucks. And that servo has been in here for I don't even know how long. That was the first one of those servos I bought, and that's why I buy these servos, is because it's lasted in this truck with how hard I beat on it with these tires. Now, it is a little worse for the wear, but it is still functioning fine. It doesn't tend to hold these tires, but I'm not sure what servo would hold these tires when I'm going off trying to do a triple or a quadruple backflip. So basically, that's the MT410 in a nutshell. Super basic design made with really, really high quality materials, and well worth the money you pay for this thing. And like I said, I didn't go nuts. I didn't put a uber expensive brushless system in this with the best servo out and the best ESC, perceivably best ESC out, and the best, most powerful motor out. I mean, this thing is a nutball on 4S, and I don't even typically run 6S in this thing because I don't need to. The way it's set up, it's got a 19 tooth pinion with that 2000 kV motor. Running 4S is perfect in this thing, I do believe. All right, so moving over here to the smaller but pretty awesomeness truck, the Proline Pro Mt 4x4. Now, this truck is a true 110 scale. Some people have asked me like what size is it is and everything, if it's the size of an A scale or anything. Well, if you consider it like kind of like a buggy, it's about the size of an A scale buggy. This truck definitely has a more complicated design. Well, relatively, I wouldn't, it's just designed differently. It is a little bit more complicated. It's not as simple as the MT410, but it's not overly complicated. I mean, it uses standard stuff that most RCs use nowadays, and you know, it does work. It has a few small flaws out of the box, but those are totally overlookable by how crazy and fun and tough this truck is. Now, is this thing going to be comparably tough to this thing? No, it's not even in the same realm as this. But as far as the MT410, I don't think anything stands up to the durability of this except maybe another Tekno, because this thing, out of all the RCs I've tested, all of them, this thing stands absolutely superior in durability to everything I've ever had. But this thing is definitely up there with durability. If you watch Rich Duperbash's channel, how hard he has beat on his, how hard I've beat on mine. I've just had a few small problems with this thing. And it was mostly design flaws, as far as like just parts literally just breaking on me. I haven't had much of that at all. The tires are good for this truck. These MX 28s, perfect for this truck, perfect size, awesome tires. I am running a 1/8 scale, very powerful system in this thing. This system was in the Berserker, which is a true 1/8 scale truggy, and it had more power than I even wanted. And in this thing, it's definitely rips. I get about half throttle most of the time because it just starts getting too crazy. Now, this thing did come with a plastic spur gear. So far, so good. No problems there. I am running a 20 tooth pinion, and I'm running that same XJ steering servo. Now, a few of the differences about this thing is it does run a pillow ball suspension up front with upper and lower A-arms. I haven't had a problem with those except for the pillow ball issue, like the little plastic piece inside there that screws in there tends to melt. Now that I have the wheel spacers on here, I don't think that's going to happen, but it tends to melt and then messes up the pillow ball a little bit. You have to heat up something, stick it in there so that you can get the nut out, pull that out, and replace it. Not a huge deal, but I would definitely call it a flaw of this truck. This thing, not as high as this, but this thing is definitely made with very high quality materials as well. As I said, it does come as a roller kit, so you will have to install your own ESC motor and steering servo. Other than that, I mean, this truck is solid. Now the size difference, as you can see, you can just kind of check it out with the bodies. You know, if you put that body on there and this body on here, I mean, you know, it's quite a bit smaller than the MT410, but it is a true 1/10 scale, like I said, and this is a true 1/8 scale. Now, everybody knows the MT410, or everybody that watches my channel knows that the MT410 is my absolute favorite RC ever. This thing, if it keeps going, it will definitely make my top 5. But as far as knocking this guy off his high horse, it's gonna take something very, very special to replace this as my number 1, because like I said, I have beat and beat and beat on this truck, and it takes it. I'm not exactly sure what to say outside of that. This is very, very fun, very capable, very durable little truck. If you do the few select upgrades that you can with the wheel spacers and stuff like that, hopefully Proline will come out with some upgrade parts, a steel spur gear, and all of that. I know it's you know, this thing has been so popular just right out of the gate that it's already kind of hard to get parts for it and stuff. A lot of stuff's back ordered every now and then, but they do have the stock parts readily available for this thing. Tekno has awesome part support. I mean, the 2 parts I did order for this thing, I ordered the steering blocks from Tekno themselves, and I ordered the steel spur gear from A-Main Hobbies. The A-Main Hobbies is literally like an hour away from me, so I normally get that stuff in 2 days. Well, the steering block that I ordered from Tekno themselves got here in 2 days, and they're all the way down in San Diego. So I live in far northern California, about maybe an hour from the Oregon border. So, you know, that's quite a trek. And I got it in 2 days, ordered, shipped to me, to my door in 2 days from Tekno. So they have awesome support. Same thing with this thing. You can go on A-Main Hobbies. Like I said, it's an hour away from me. I can order parts, and they get here typically within like 2 days. So, you know, part support for both of these things is going to be good. This has a few upgrades nowadays. This thing, I'm sure it will soon. Alright everybody, well that's my comparison between the Proline Pro Mt410 and the Tekno MT410. If you enjoyed this video, it was likable for you, be sure to smash that thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I didn't go over what you wanted to know, go ahead and smash that thumbs down, and I apologize. Other than that, click that bell, subscribe if you're new here, and check out the description. There's a bunch of cool stuff down there. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, flags, wall tapestries. There's all kinds of stuff to help support Killer Off-Road Hobbies. So, I'm your host, Gary. Until the next video, get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. You guys take it easy. Peace.